Welcome to
Savy and Sebs Scripture Series.
Woo!
Today's scripture passage.
And we got new Bibles.
Today's scripture passage was Genesis 34.
34 and 35.
20.
34 and 35.
You said 20.
Okay.
Yes, we got new Bibles.
So, in chapter 24, it was all about
34.
Dinah being defiled. And if you remember, in Jacob's children,
He had one daughter.
he had one daughter, and they mention her in verse 21. Afterwards, she bore a daughter and called her name Dinah. And she was the sister to Simeon and Levi. And so...
And a lot of others. She was Leah's daughter.
She was Leah's daughter.
So she had a lot of
Yeah.
full-blooded siblings.
Yeah, and half-blood siblings. A lot. Okay. And
Half-brothers.
then-
They were all brothers. Actually, I think they had more daughters.
Okay. And in chapter 35, God blesses and renames Jacob. Now you're saying, didn't God already rename Jacob? Well, yes. He told him the new name, but he didn't actually
Use it.
He didn't use it, and he didn't tell Jacob to use it. He just said, your name is Israel. He didn't say, use the name. He said, your name is Israel.
Yeah.
And also, the death of Rachel and Isaac, Jacob's parents.
No, Rebecca was his parent. Rachel was his wife. The one he loved more.
Okay, the deaths of Rachel and Isaac. Okay.
So it was father and his wife.
Yeah.
His favorite wife.
I still don't get why he had 4 wives. Verse 23. In chapter 34, verse 23. So basically what's going on in chapter 24 is this guy loves Dinah, and he's the prince of the land, so he takes her and sleeps with her and defiles her and all that. Which is, don't do. And they ask if he can marry her, and the brothers deceitfully say, you must be circumcised. So now the king is giving a pep talk about it, and this is the one thing that just stuck. It's in verse 23. Will not their livestock, their property, and all their beasts be ours? Only let us agree with them, and they will dwell with us. Now you're thinking, what does that mean? Some people might think that. But for me, it's an alternative reason. He doesn't care if his son has that wife, girl. He just wants the wealth that it'll give him.
Yeah.
He doesn't care.
No, he doesn't.
It's like, okay, son, you can have that wife, and I want their money, their
and
land,
the wealth,
and
people.
everything.
And daughters. I want that all.
Exactly.
Yep.
Messed up thinking.
And intermarriage. It would be intermarriage.
Yeah. And in verse 25 of 34, on the 3rd day, when they were sources, they've all been circumcised. 2 of the sons of Jacob, Simeon and Levi, Dinah's brothers, took their swords and came against the city while it felt secure and killed all the males. Now I just thought, brutal. Like, what? Why? And then I realized in verse 13, the sons of Jacob answered Shechem and his father Hamor. The Shechem is the prince and Hamor is the king.
Yeah.
Deceitfully, because he had defiled their sister Dinah. After I read it, I was like, why deceitfully? And after this, I was like,
I was actually wondering, like, wait, deceitfully, how are they gonna do loopholes through this time?
And so, that was very, very brutal, and just like
That was not good. It was not very nice.
loophole.
It was not technically a loophole.
And it's just like, and that's why they're called deceitful.
Well, that's why Israel was called deceitful.
Israel was not called deceitful.
Jacob was literally named deceitful.
Okay.
The
but
deceiver.
The sons
he who
of
grabs
Jacob,
the heel or pulls the leg.
Savannah. The sons of Jacob answered Shechem and his father Hamor deceitfully.
Yeah.
The sons of Jacob.
Yeah, but they were never called deceitful.
No. Well,
Jacob was
the
known for
Bible
being...
just called it deceitful.
Yeah. But they're not known for being deceitful.
Okay. So, chapter 35, verse 15, it says, So Jacob called the name of the place where God had spoken with him Bethel. And that got me thinking, this place is named Bethel, and Jacob had an encounter with God earlier. So I looked back to Jacob's ladder, or Jacob's dream, as some people call it, and verse 19, he called the name of that place Bethel, but the name of the city was Luz at first. And so, why would you name two Bethels?
Because it's the same place.
No.
Yes.
Oh, I forgot about verse 1. Arise, go up to Bethel and dwell there. So, it's the same place, and I did not realize that.
Yeah, it's the same place. Because it's the same name. In chapter 35, verse 5, it says, And as they journeyed, a terror from God fell upon the cities that were around them, so they did not pursue the sons of Jacob. Verse 6, And Jacob came to Luz, that is Bethel, or Luz, as you say in Spanish,
which is in the land of Canaan, he and all the people who were with him. And also, in verse 28 of chapter 35, now the days of Isaac were 180 years. And so, right when we heard it, I was like, what? Still?
Because he lived past the limit.
Yes. And so I said, Isaac, still over 120 years and older than Abraham when he died. Abraham died at 175, which is, wow. Okay. That's all the notes I had.
So one of the notes I had was that Reuben, he slept with his stepmother.
Wait.
And I was wondering why. Because he told everyone that he didn't want his sister defiled, but he defiled himself. But it was just revenge on his father for not caring about what happened to Dinah.
We think that a Defiled Sister.
Alright.
Well, that's all the time we have for today on Savy and Sebs Scripture Series. Woo! Bye!